Okay, hello everyone, this is Ken from Digital Pizza. I'm going to do a quick series of videos. Each video is going to be just a quick overview of a few of the stages that I've heard people complain about in Tower of Ascension hard so far this month. So a little background real quick. My in-game name is Prince Darien. Got it from the TV show Sailor Moon as a little kid. But as you can see, I completed Tower of Ascension hard already. 30 days left until the refresh. And, 11th place in the rush. That is deceiving. I'm not that good. Most of the players, the high-end players, typically rush Tower of Ascension normal and then move on to Tower of Ascension hard. I went straight for hard because I didn't know how long it was going to take me. And so it's deceiving for me to finish that high up, is all I'm saying. This was my first ever attempt rushing. So I'm just going to go over a few teams, a few stages that I've heard people complain about. The very first one I'm going to review in this video is going to be the Veromos stage. I'll have another video coming out for the Akrama stage, another video for, Lyrith, and another one for the Leo Ragdoll stage, and so on and so forth. But all of the stages that you most of the time come across hearing as being difficult, I'm going to cover those and show you a few different ways to beat them. So this video is the Veromos stage. Okay? The way I like to run this stage is using Mantura with Dark Homunculus, and then to round out the team I use Verad. Now I know a lot of you people listening right now are going to say that you don't have Verad, but this team composition right here, these three units are really the only three units you need, which means they complete basically all of your essential roles. You have the stuns, you have attack bar manipulation for control, you've got defense break, you've got dots, you've got slow, you've got the cooldowns and speed increase, and you got everything that you truly need in these three monsters. What that means is if you do not have a Verad, but you do have, say, for example, a oooooo and a water homunculus, or potentially even wind or fire, and that you change into water or whatever, but an attack type homunculus, where is it? So you'll notice the first one is a chance to freeze, the first skill. The second skill is attacks all enemies 3 times and decreases attack bar. The third skill right now that I have deals dots and damage. However, if you wanted to build your water homunculus for Tower of Ascension hard, you would change this last skill right here to the area of the AoE stun, freeze, whatever. So it would be a 100% freeze, and you would have basically much more crowd control with this monster, but you would be lacking the attack bar manipulation. So you would not have Verad, but you would have the water homunculus. And then you would only be missing the attack bar manipulation from this setup that I have right now, which could be replaced by a oooooo, right? So then you would have an extra free slot that you would fill up for anyone that you want, whether it's a Colleen for a heal block and a little bit of heals, whether it's a Mav for some more safety for cooldowns, or even a frigate or a galleon, or not galleon, a frigate or a Ganymede or Jamire, whatever you have for assisting yourself in cooldowns. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you Verad with Homunculus and Mantura, with 2 monsters that I think are pretty good for Tower of Ascension hard that are underutilized. So I'm going to use Kumar along with Chandra. Now the reason these 2 monsters work pretty well is Chandra has AoE damage and has a defend, a hug, to protect an ally. Now, if you're manualing or something, you know, you can make sure you're protecting your weakest link. But also skill 1 is a stun. This monster right here, Kumar, well, what he has is an AoE heal block. Super beneficial. And a dot on the skill, first skill. So this team right here should be perfectly fine to auto. The one thing that I am missing, which from my team, that a lot of people would say is a necessity, is Tessarian. And Tessarian I have way back here. Right here, next to Theo. So I do have a Tessarian, but the reason I'm not using him here is because I want to show off the Mantura and the Dark Homunculus, because Mantura on skill 1 has the ability to remove beneficial effect, and the Dark Homunculus, if he'd pop up, on skill 1 remove beneficial effect, skill 2 remove all beneficial effects. So you've got enough here to remove beneficial effects to be comfortable with removing the shields from your arenas. So I'm just going to press play here. I'll continue talking while this runs. This team right here, in my experience, this month anyways, was extremely safe. I used it to auto pretty much Tower of Ascension Hard 1 through Tower of Ascension Hard 99, with the exception of 2 stages. Those 2 stages being the Leo Ragdoll stage, which I have a team I use it for, every single time. Just change it up. And also the Akrama stage. Obviously, my Dark Homunculus and Mantura are just not tanky enough to sustain with a team like this for against the Akrama. So those 2 videos will be coming up shortly. I'll show you a few different ways to beat it. For example, the Akrama stage, you could go full tank with something like Basalt or a defense rune on a Theo Mars, or you could go damage route with ignore defense such as Fae, Bulldozer, things like that, or even Kali. So there's a few different ways to work that stage. Ignore defense is extremely effective there, and you just have to survive to make it to that boss. So currently for this stage, what you'll see is I'm getting plenty of dots up, I'm getting plenty of damage, and every time I use that 3rd skill there, Unbalanced Field, the amazing thing about that is you get a speed increase, the enemy gets a slow, you get your cooldown reduction as if it's a Mav, but they also get cooldown increases, which means if you're going up against a Perna, when you kill a Perna and it dies, instead of it just dying and resurrecting again, it dies and it remains dead because you have increased the cooldown times on that semi-passive ability. So you end up cycling more and just locking them down from using their skills. One really good example of this team and why it's so effective would be Tower of Ascension Hard Stage 95 this month. The one with 3 Verad and 2 Beretta. A stage like that when you're first starting out and you're relying on like RNG, right? Like you're using maybe a Beretta and you're dotting them up and you're trying to lock them down with stuns, whether it's with Aria or something else. You're doing the very best you can, but you have to pray, cross your fingers, hope that every single time you get a turn, you stun them, and they never get a chance to get their skills off. Because as soon as Verad moves, Absolute Zero, Snowstorm, whatever it is, he's going to get a stun off. He's going to attack bar and manipulate you. There's 3 of them, you're toast. So a team like this, and any team honestly, if it has Dark Homunculus in it with the Unbalanced Field, you increase the cooldown time of that Verad or whatever you're going up against, and then all that they can do when they do get a turn, if for some reason there's poor RNG, right? if there's poor RNG and you do not get your stuns up and they get a turn, all they can do is hit you with a little ice bolt. They can do nothing except watch you destroy them. And so it's incredibly effective to have the Dark Homunculus on any Tower of Ascension hard team. Highly, highly recommend it. And that's really the main reason for this series of videos, is I want to show how effective Dark Homunculus can be, and that you can get like essentially a top 10 finish in the ToaH rush, without any prior rushing experience. I'm going to take it off auto here, but without any prior rushing experience, just because you used the Dark Homunculus. The reason I took this off auto is because I like to, for main boss stages, I like to just punch the enemy in the face a few times, to make sure all my skills are off cooldown when I get to the boss, so that I'm not wasting my energy and making a fool of myself too much, if at all possible. Now this team should, seriously, it should be able to completely totally auto it. However, screw this, I have to do this. Now it should be able to auto. However, in the unlikely event that something goes wrong, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't shooting myself in the foot here. Come on, my darn my darn homunculus here is like failing non-stop. 100% accuracy or 85% accuracy or whatever. Can't. There we go. Come on. Finally. So now that we're at the boss, right? Obviously I'm going to start off manualing this just to get my bearings, but the basic idea is you're going to use the absolute zero, or if you were using the Wuchi with the water homunculus, you'd be freezing them and then resetting their attack bar, and then moving forward from there. But I'm going to do the absolute zero. I'm going to follow that up with maybe the unbalanced field and the skill 3 from Mentura to get the defense break up. Skill 3 from the Trick of Wind or Trick of Water and Trick of Fire from the Beast Monks, get some AoE damage going. I'm just going to press play from there, and what should happen is I'll have enough damage, and the unbalanced field will make sure that the Pernas will die from only one death instead of resurrecting, and I'll have enough damage AoE wise to bring down the Huadams, and hopefully sustain through the Veromos damage. Typically the main problem that I could run into with this team would be on full auto if Chandra dies from some poor RNG, or if Chandra hugs Verad when it should hug the Dark Homunculus, and maybe just really, really awful RNG. But this typically works, and so I'm just going to kick it off and we'll see how it goes. Bam, bam, as anticipated. Third skill, and then third skill, and then play. And I got the defend up on the Dark Homunculus, so that's good. But unfortunately, okay, finally got some more stuns, some more AoE damage going. I got another unbalanced field to proc, so it's looking a little bit better now. I didn't like the way this started, and if you noticed, I killed the Perna on the right a couple times now, well, or maybe just once. But when I killed the Perna on the right, what ended up happening was the HP actually didn't decrease enough, and the Huadam's HP decreased, and it healed up the Perna a little bit. So that's typical. Now we're working on the other Huadam, and once both Huadams are less than 30% HP, it ends up getting much safer. Unfortunately, I didn't get the absolute zero to proc on the Veromos, and so he moved there, which sucked. But we're now looking really good. We got the other Perna down. We got the Huadams all down now. And Chandra is looking a little scary right now, but maybe I got a heal coming up from Kumar. Yep. And keep in mind, my Kumar and my Chandra both have no skill ups, so this is about as bad as it could get for them. And yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this is a relatively safe team to use, and not a lot can go wrong with it. Um, with the exception of some really crap RNG. Um, as long as you get the unbalanced field procs to pop up, you're golden. And remember, you can make this safer. You can absolutely make this safer by adding a Mav in there, or a Frigate, or Ganymede, anyone else who's got another version of a a cooldown decrease for your team, and you should be able to just bring it all down slow and steady. Sometimes people bring more heals, like, because right now the Kumar that I have right now is like just a solo single target healer. A Colleen would have been much better option for heals, would have been extremely safe, but I mean, this worked just fine. So just to show you, with the same stage, removing those two and putting someone like a Mav with a Colleen, you'll see, I'm not going to run it through to the very end because it's going to be a huge waste of your time, but I'm just going to show you getting through the first wave that they bounce off each other. The unbalanced field, the wings of harmony, whatever the hell it's called, I forget. But basically, they help each other with their cooldowns, and so I already got a second unbalanced field to proc, but before anybody's ever really even moved. It's almost too good. Combine that with the fact that Colleen is a stupid healer, so she's always going to be healing to get that attack buff up. The attack buff is relatively pointless. My damage here is based off of defense and HP mostly, but to have the heal coming up regularly means everybody's topped off. It's AoE. I'm not worried about some potential poor RNG where I'm at 51% health or something, and then all hell breaks loose and I lose. But so this is just another way to do the team, much slower. Because remember, with my beast monks, I had a lot of AoE damage just going and going and going. So this team is, in my opinion, a safer team than the one that I used last, but it's much slower. That is it for this video. I'll post another one very shortly, which is going to be the Akrama stage, or potentially the Leo Ragdoll stage. But before I head out, I'm going to show you the runes real quick. So my Chandra, 45k HP, 1000 defense, 150 something speed, 74 crit rate, 182 crit damage. Very good for the damage. The crit rate, I like to keep the crit rate relatively high. I use Chandra on Guild War offense with a Theomar lead. So with Theomar's as a leader skill, my Chandra's got almost 100% crit rate with really good crit damage. Using the defend to help make sure Theomar's stays alive, it's relatively safe. I like to pair it with some sort of an attack bar booster, like Aerial or Konamiya, to try to make sure that Chandra's hug gets up regardless. But so that's the Chandra. Colleen was relatively slow. Full revenge build for R5. I understand that the defense is a little low for frontlining, but I do supplement that with some determination sets on my Diaz. So her defense is a little bit more safe than it appears to be. I also used, oh yeah, the Kumar, less HP, less crit damage, and less speed than the Chandra, a little bit more defense. But the benefit of Kumar is that Kumar is on a violent set, whereas Chandra's broken sets. So Kumar does get more RNG. I didn't have enough violent sets to give them both violent, and I figured having the RNG for a violent proc into a meditate was more important than a violent proc into a hug. At my stage of the game, anyways. Maybe I'll find a good violent set in the future for Chandra. Not yet though. So then I used my Dark Homunculus. Very, very mild mannered build. Like this 6 slot here is a 5-star room. Like, look at that. It doesn't even give me any hit points at all, except for flat. I'm sorry, the flat 288 whoopee, you know. But the runes don't have to be spectacular. It's just that the final result comes together to be a relatively well-rounded build. It's got enough defense to get by and be somewhat tanky, enough HP for the same, enough speed because it's got a speed slot too. So it's just a very well-rounded build with the 85% accuracy, which was important to me because I wanted to land unbalanced field as often as possible. I also like to use Dark Homunculus in Guild War offense. My Mantura, relatively good runes in my opinion, on Despair Focus. So I have some relatively high quality runes, but you don't need the high quality runes. It's just to get more damage. All you really need is the speed and the accuracy and a little bit of defense to try to sustain. But yeah, so I got 26k HP, 600 defense, 100 speed, and 65 accuracy. So yeah, the Dark Homunculus with the Homie are imperative. I added the Verad, which is on a Violent Will build. And the Verad's got a little bit less accuracy than I'd like. And I would love to change the 6 slot from a defense to an HP rune to get more HP, a more well-rounded build. I really, really, really like well-rounded builds. Because if I wanted to RTA right now, I'm always scared bringing a Verad out because if somebody ends up countering the pick with a Sierra or something like that, you know, I feel safer if I have more hit points. So it's a drawback right there. And but yeah, the Dark Homunculus, the Homie, Verad, and the Beast Monks. Those were the units I used. But remember, keep in mind, you know, you can use the Water Homunculus. Absolutely no problem if you use the AoE stun or freeze skill. And the Mav. I even showed off Mav very, 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 very briefly with the Colleen. Look at those crappy runes. Completely, totally worthless. I think that, you know, there's like 5-star runes here, you know, like nothing glorious by any stretch of the imagination. Simply there to help with more cooldowns from Wings of the Wind. Not Wings of Harmony, like I said earlier. Apologies on that. But really, Tower of Ascension hard. You can auto it, no problem. Almost never fail, unless you get some really, really, really bad RNG with that team. So I hope this helped you at least see how the Veromos stage could go down, even if you didn't have as much heals or you know, if you didn't have Tessarian pulled, because you can farm that Dark Homie, you can farm it and you can build it, and if you build it, you will not regret it. But you know, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be, you know, reading them. I will respond. I cross my heart. I will pinky promise that I will respond. Have a great day, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.